Hey guys, in this video we're going to be marking out plumbing drops so that you can avoid them when setting floor trusses or another type of framing member. We're going to be starting with toilets, then talking about showers and tubs, and then lastly we're going to go over pedestal sinks. So let's get into it. Okay, the first thing we're going to go over is toilets. We're going to show you an in-depth perspective of how we take the information off the plans and use it to move our trusses so that when the plumbers come in and set the toilet, their pipe is not impeded by a truss in the way. So we're going to pull up the main floor print, and we have a toilet right about here. And we're going to have to look at the print and figure out where the wall is that is behind the toilet. We're going to pull from the outside of the house across to where the wall is that the toilet is sitting against. So we have to pull off the outside of the house to where that wall is, and then we'll go from there. So we'll pull up the print and get the exact measurements of what we need to pull. So we have 5.5 inches plus 11 feet 6 inches plus 4 feet 2.5 inches plus 6 foot 4.5 inches. So we'll add those together. So we have 22 foot 6.5 inches. So here we go, we have 22 foot 6.5 inches to the wall that the toilet sits against. It's a 2x4 wall right here. So this is our wall. So the toilets are 12.5 inches off this wall to the center of a 3-inch pipe. So here's our pipe. Because our floor trusses are running this way, we have a floor truss here and a floor truss here. So our pipe lands right between the two. So in this particular scenario, we don't have to move any trusses. If there was a truss in the way of this pipe, we would want to give the plumber space. We'd probably move it back about 2 inches away from this pipe. And that's how you mark out a toilet. Okay, so we don't have a standard shower / tub unit on our main floor, but we're gonna walk you through how to do that just in case. So right here, we have our wall that we're using where the tub sits against. Now, if this wall is running parallel to the shower, so it's the back wall, will come off 15 inches, and that's the center of a 2.5-inch pipe. So we don't want a truss in this box. We like to give them a couple inches of clearance on each side of that. Now remember, that's only if the truss is running parallel to the back wall of the shower. Now if the tub was switched the other way, so that this is the faucet wall, the side with the actual water dial, we would come off 8 inches, and that is the center of our 2.5-inch pipe. So we don't want a truss to be within 2 inches of that pipe. We're basically making a rectangle around where the drain would go. That's so that they can hook their drain up and hook it to all their water lines, like the tub runoff. Ideally, you don't even want a truss underneath the faucet wall. Sometimes it doesn't always work out, and you'll have to communicate with either the general or the plumber on your specific job. On this house, we have a tiled shower, so this isn't your standard unit. On the print, it shows a centered floor drain. We already marked out the side walls of the shower. It's 4 foot between them, and they are running parallel to our trusses. So out here in the center of the shower, which is way out there in the middle, we're going to mark the drain so that we can move this truss. So we'll go 2 foot is center, and we'll assume a 3-inch pipe. So here's our pipe, and we have a truss overlapping our pipe by 1 3/8 inches. So this truss right here, we're going to shift over so that the closest side of the truss is 2 inches away from that pipe. And we have to make sure and move this mark on both this wall and the other wall that the truss is sitting on. When you cross out a truss like this to move it for the plumbing drop, I like to make it in Sharpie so that it doesn't accidentally get placed on the first line. If you're getting any value out of this video, please subscribe. Okay, the last thing I want to share is to watch out for pedestal sinks. One time we framed a house and I marked out all the plumbing drops, but I didn't know to mark out for pedestal sinks. And the thing you have to do with pedestal sinks is the wall behind the sink is actually where the drain goes into the wall and down because it's hidden. So you don't want to truss directly underneath that wall. You just want to shift it over so that it's either in front of that wall or behind the wall, 3.5 inches. When I messed that up, the homeowner actually had to come in after us, after we were busy on another job, and frame another wall in front himself. And it shrunk an already small half bath. So yeah, don't forget pedestal sinks. You always run into some special things on each job, like we have a standalone tub here. Just communicate with your general contractor and your plumber to make sure that you can avoid all of the plumbing drops. So we're going to go through this whole house and do every toilet and every shower on the main floor to make sure that no pipes hit any of our trusses. Every plumber does things differently, so just work with your plumber and try and get it right. The best way to tell if you did a good job is to actually call up your plumber after they've done the rough-in and ask them how your framing was. Was there anything in their way? Next will be setting trusses, so click here to watch our videos on setting trusses.